Let me tell you really quick about our next guest that's going to be coming up, Curtis L. Jenkins. I'm going to let him tell you what the L means, though. But Curtis, he's an author, an entrepreneur, project management executive. He's also on a mission in life to help you transform your life through clarity and execution. After having honed his expertise in this project management for over 20 years, Jenkins has come to realize that everything in life is implemented twice, first as an idea or vision, and second as reality. Should someone have the audacity to execute on their vision? I want to show you a little bit about what Curtis looks like and what he's going to be coming on. But he's also graduate of the Fox School of Business and Management at Temple University. Temple Owls, right? Go Owls. Where he earned his bachelor's degree in business administration, and the Warton School of the University of Pennsylvania, where he earned a master's degree in management of technology. So, ladies and gentlemen, he's going to be coming on and talk about some great things, and I'm so happy that you all get the chance to come and see it. So, do yourself a favor, grab a notebook, sit back, relax, and enjoy as we take this journey. Thank you all, and welcome to Just One Question. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming to another episode of J1Q, Just One Question, that podcast that is dedicated simply to educating, inspiring, and letting voices from minorities and underrepresented voices have a place to speak and to learn and be inspired. Today's guest we're going to have coming on, you're going to enjoy it. So sit back and watch as we get the chance to speak with Curtis L. Jenkins. And I think I'm going to have him tell you what the L means. I'm not even going to go there, right? So here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Have some fun. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. We are here back with Curtis Jenkins. I am so excited to bring this to you because as all of you know, I love business talk. I love it talking anything about growing. But we have to learn the steps to get there, right? So without any further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's give a big round of applause and learn some of these steps with our guest coming up, Mr. Curtis Jenkins. Yes. Yes, how are you doing today, sir?
Listen, I'm fantastic. Very, very pleased to be on your show, and I
Man.
love the fact that you have one question because I'm going to ask you and your fan base a question.
Oh, okay. Well, I better get my mind ready for it. So, I tell you what, I love doing this because we can read a bio. Everyone's going to be able to see that in the show notes and see all that, but it doesn't convey the energy and emotions that I love. So I love asking my guests to just give a quick moment of telling the listeners who you are and what you're about and how you got to where you're at. So the floor is yours. Take it and kind of let them know who you are, sir.
Okay, so when I talk about who I am, I'm gonna give you what I call the Curtis Jenkins experience, right? And that is, I am a dreamer, I am a connector, and I'm a teacher, or I'd like to say I'm a sharer because I like to teach what I learn. So the thing is, I like to dream and I like to dream big. And I learned this years ago, right? If you're going to dream, just dare to dream big and be bold about it. And the dreaming is how I connect the visioning, right? And we'll talk more about vision to reality and what I trademarked in 2012 as the art and science of vision to reality. But I like to dream and I like to attack it. A connector is someone in Malcolm Gladwell's book, The Tipping Point, that brings people together. And I like for whoever is in my network to be connected positively so that everybody rises. I enjoy networking and connecting with people. The third is I'm a teacher slash sharer. So the reason I use the word teacher is because I like to teach what I learn. However, I don't like to create the relationship of teacher and student because just like I'm sharing what I learned, I like to learn from the person that I'm sharing with. So that part there is the Curtis Jenkins experience. Now, so
Absolutely
what?
love it. Sorry,
Yeah,
go ahead. Go ahead.
yeah. I'm sorry. I was just going to say more about what I do from a bio perspective, and that is figures to seven figures or more. And I use a patented methodology that we're going to talk about called the realization framework experience.
There we go, right? So that's how it all starts off. And I was going to say I absolutely love this because one of the things we always hear is about, America's dreams and their goals to own their own business, to do all of this. And we have a lot of people speak on that. I want to own my own business, but I don't know what I want to do. I don't know how to start it. And I think we all need basic steps. And somewhat of that is what you can start to provide. So let's say you are speaking to someone who already has their business. No matter of fact, let's maybe give one or two tips for someone who hasn't started it, but they have that big dream, as you said, right? That dream that's going to scare them, that they're thinking, there's no way I can do this. Maybe one or two tips for someone who is wanting to start, and then we're going to jump into people who've already established their business.
Certainly. And first, let me start off with a question. This is my one question. And I like to ask business owners, if your
Okay.
business is doing less than $1 million today, but you could be doing $5 to $10 million in a year from now, wouldn't that be nice? But what if I told you that if you got to $5 to $10 million, you had no time for your family, you're totally stressed out, and your marriage is on the rocks? You wouldn't want that, would you? But what if I told you that you could have a $5 or $10 million business while working less than you're working now, taking more vacation, and spending more time with your family? So that's what we're going to talk about here today with my patented methodology. Now, I typically don't work with startups because startups are taking a different path. However, the more established business where the business owner is tired of working on the business or in the business, I'm sorry, and needs to work on the business so that they can start growing that business and being more of a leader and having more time for their friends, their family, their communities.
I absolutely love that because that is something that I know that I've heard from other people and that I've also been dealing with myself. When I initially started working for my own business, wearing many hats, accountant, scheduler, everything, right? So it really resonates when you said, hey, you can have this amount of money, but you're going to have to take away from family. And I experienced that. And I got to a point where I was in that boat. And not the financial parts, but the not spending, time with the family in it. And I was like, what's more important to me at this point? So with your methodology and the system that you came up with, what gravitated you towards that? What motivated you? Because I know in our talks you said you were doing it in a sense, and someone said to you, "Hey, man, you're already doing it."
That's
What
right.
happened?
Okay, so the first thing I got to make a comment on, and that's wearing many hats. The one hat you chose to wear today is a fantastic hat. So right now, I'm loving that red and black hat. So sorry, I had to comment on
Thank you, thank you.
that. So listen, I personally want to see a world where small business owners were able to give themselves the gift and their communities the gift of their time and financial support, right? And growing up, I've seen small business owners struggle. And then I've had friends who, through the years as we're growing up and they're entrepreneurs, I've watched them struggle. But the one thing I was able to do to help them was, as I have worked in corporate America as a strategist, as a project management professional, and as someone to help companies that are in the billions reach their visions, I've developed a methodology that I can help the small business owner follow, very similar, but in a way that's not as impactful because you don't have all the resources, you don't have the financial resources, you don't have the people resources, but the necessary steps to grow your business. And that methodology I created is called the realization framework experience. In this 5 easy steps. You want me to describe them?
Yes, go for it.
Okay, all right. So the first step is visualize. The second step is evaluate. The third step is calculate. The fourth step is clarify. And the fifth step is realize. So let me go ahead and talk to you first about the vision. Remember earlier when I talked about dreaming big? You got to have a vision for your business. Where are you going? What do you see? When I work with small business owners, many of them have employees. They work with the employees, and when I've asked them to interview, for me to interview their employees, I asked them, "What is the company's vision?" And I got varying answers. Mostly, I don't know, and that's because the business leader has not articulated the vision enough for people to understand exactly where the company's trying to go. So it's key that you articulate a compelling vision. And I teach that. That's the first thing we do in the methodology. The second is evaluate, and that's evaluating the people that are in your business ecosystem. That's the people that you have and the people that you don't have. So the people that you have, do they have the necessary skill sets that you need? Do they understand their roles as it relates to their vision? And do you operate with them on a daily basis to understand how what they do on a day-to-day basis leads to that overall vision? You got to upskill people, or you got to fill in the gaps if you don't have the right people in your ecosystem. Two people, a lot of people don't have, a lot of small business owners, and that's a financial person. They might have an accountant or a bookkeeper, and that's good if they do. But how about somebody that helps with forecasting and pro formas and things like that towards your vision? And then, how about your advisors? Do you have advisors? And we'll talk a little bit more about that and realize. But just understanding the people, because it's people that help you get there. And the lifeblood of a company is made up of two things: that's people, and the next is money. So that comes to calculate. That's calculating cash flow, because 82% of small businesses fail because the owners don't understand cash flow. I like to do an exercise with the business owners that I work with to look at the weeks out, a couple weeks out, and a month out, and look at the flow of cash. And then we also like to look at the past. And we want to go from a negative cash flow to a positive cash flow. And I've seen so many companies try to live payroll to payroll, borrowing money because they didn't understand cash flow, but they're trying to pay their bills and trying to pay their people. The fourth thing is clarify. So now that you got the money in place and it's flowing right, now that you have uh, the people leading up to this vision, you need a plan. And that plan has daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, and annual activities associated with how you're going to get there. Also, you have plans for risk, for issues that you run into, and you have a plan on how you're going to operate to manage through towards that vision. And finally, step number 5, that's realize. And realize is made up of 2 areas. The first one being metrics. What are the key metrics that you're going to have? What are your key financial metrics? Customer metrics, employee metrics, sales metrics. Those are key basic metrics that you need to have as it relates to what the vision is, because I'm willing to bet that that vision has some kind of financial goal, like we talked about, being $5 to $10 million. The second one is accountability. Big businesses have a board of directors, and they are really invested in the organization. They help the leaders of the company drive towards that vision. Well, why not small businesses? They can have a board of advisors. A board of advisors is less formal than a board of directors, has less legal ramifications, but still people who are interested in giving what they know to you to help you reach your vision. So that's the 5-step realization framework experience that I've developed. And I love working with small businesses to help them realize their visions.
And I know that's one of the things that we kind of talked about when you were telling me your vision is to help. I think it was like 1,000 small businesses in a
1,000
year or
small
something.
businesses a year. That's right.
Okay, tell me a
What?
little piece about that when someone who's listening right now.
Yeah, so I'm able to work with small businesses like one at a time. Right now, I got 3 clients that I'm doing at a time, and but I can't touch 1,000 when it's just me. So that's one of the reasons why I wrote the book that you showed earlier, right? Vision to Reality, Stop Working, Start Living, because it works through the framework. But I also created an online course, How to Be a Visionaire. So what's a visionaire? A visionaire is someone who's realized their dreams for their business, and they have more money, more time, and more support. And so it's the course that's online that just kind of walks through the same details that I just talked about, a little bit more with some exercises to help you get more and more into how you're going to grow your business. Now, my recommendation is that if you go through those two things and you still have, more questions or things that need to be answered, that's when you will consult with me. We get a 30-minute conversation. We go over your initial strategy, and then we determine whether we're going to work together for a longer term strategy. My recommendation is a year, where I can help you build your own advisory board, develop your strategy, and then we take your business from where it is today to the 5 and 10 million that it could be.
So this is the point where I think any business owner who's sitting here listening to this, who is maybe rewatching this through the video, needs to say to themselves, what am I willing to sacrifice to get where I want to go? Right? Because I've always said we don't know what we don't know. Right? We don't have a
Yep.
manual to take us in those steps to take our business, to the next echelon or anything like that. But then it comes to a point where you have someone who's sitting in your face saying, I can help you with that. Right? I have strategies. I've worked 20 plus years. I've narrowed my mistakes down and help. Then it comes to them to say, I've got to do it. Right? Like you
Yeah.
said, give me that year. Give me the time for it. You've dedicated all this energy to getting your business started and growing. Are you not going to give that same work to take it to the next level? Man, that is, I just can't even fathom why someone wouldn't. But when we get to this point here, now you've got someone who is in your course, someone who's come to you and they said, you know what, I'm enjoying this. I see the vision of where you can help me grow. Where do we go now? Now that they're in your course, what are you talking to them about? What do you want to convey to the listeners of why they need to hear and work with you?
So let me tell you a quick story. And this is now one of my best clients, right? And here's what happened. I was part of an entrepreneur group, and we would just share, share, share. I told you I was a sharer, how we can help each other. And I was listening to this one particular gentleman who was having problems but wouldn't be totally open to some of the issues that they were having. And I said, look, why don't you sit down with me and let me help you? And they just kept saying, no, I'm good. I'm good. I'll figure this out. And then tragedy struck. Their number one customer bailed out on them. They were like $650,000 in the hole from a major customer that bailed on them. Didn't have the money to fight legally. So now all of a sudden, where I go to charge X, I can charge Y because they're coming to me now thirsty and I got the water. And so, but I didn't do anything to take advantage of that situation. What I did was say, hey, let's talk about what your problem is. And we developed three plans. The first one was, let's develop a stabilization plan because you're in crisis mode right now. And we got down, we sat together with the business partners and we developed a crisis plan. Let's just get out of this current issue. Then we developed I'm sorry, the first one was a crisis plan because the second plan was a stabilization plan. Now that we got the business stable, let's stabilize for a moment, get over that crisis, and talk about where we're trying to go. And then we created a transformation plan. And that's where we're at now. We're in the second year of that transformation plan, and the company's thriving. But I tell you what, they were at the verge of losing everything. Many times when I talk to people, they're not quite sure um, where they are. So I have what's called a visionaire scorecard. If you go to my website, www.cljassoc.com, you can take that visionaire scorecard. And the questions, when you answer them, the results will tell you exactly where you are in that visionaire spectrum of running a multi-million dollar business. And if you are anywhere below 80%, we should have a conversation Don't wait until it's crisis time, because we had a big pandemic, we got a looming recession, inflation is up. Let's have a conversation right now to see if we can develop a plan for you that you can thrive through these times, unlike the person that I just mentioned. So let's not be at the point where we need so much that, but if you are living payroll to payroll and trying to figure things out, we need to have a conversation.
Yes, there it is. And I am looking currently, and let me make sure I can get this on here. I'm looking currently at your website right here. Okay. And
Mhm.
so when I'm looking at this, I see your quiz right on your website.
Yeah.
And for any of the um, let me move that right there. Yeah, perfect. So any of the viewers who are looking at this, this is what he was talking about, right? Turn your vision into reality. Take this quiz. It's a short quiz. I'm assuming you could just get right in there and like you said, you get that score of 80 or less, I
Yeah.
think it was. Call
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
Get to this point of calling them. And I love looking at this. And something else that I saw within that portion, or I heard, I don't know if it was now or sometime before, is when you said something in the reference to, you wanted to go from success to significance,
Oh yeah.
right? Now you've come to a point in your work field where, oh, okay,
Yeah.
who I can relax, maybe take the weight off the shoulders. I'm successful, or I'm to a point. Now, where do you want to go there? So, what do you mean by that?
Oh, I'm glad that you brought that up. I got a few gray hairs, right? And with that gray hair, I like to call it the wisdom, that I've developed over the years. And yes, I have been pretty successful, what I call, good old capitalist American success. I have that. And so, but what does it mean, right? I don't want to take it with me. So this goes back to helping 1,000 small businesses, but I want to be significant, because if you think about the statistics around small businesses and big businesses, 99% of the private workforce is employed by small businesses. So I want to make an impact. I want to leave this world where I've made it better than when I've entered it. And this is the path that I chose. And so the way that I become significant now is take the treasures that I've been able to accumulate and do what I can to perpetuate it as much as I can out in the world. So I want to think more about legacy, what I leave my children, what I leave this world, and what I can leave you if you allow me to help you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we've got the ingredients, right? As my big mom used to say, I gave you the recipe, you got to cook it. you, you're getting the information. You it's right here. It's right in front of you. You just got to reach out and grasp it. If you're swimming right now, if you feel like hey, my payroll kind of thing. But an important thing is kind of like what Curtis just said. Get it done before you get into that hemorrhage part, right? Come
Oh yeah,
before you get, bleeding or whatever, your business starts sinking, right?
yeah,
Reach out now, right? Reach out. I always believe that we can always use coaching in some form or fashion, no matter what portion we're at in life, in business, um, wherever we're at. We need someone who's been there, done that, who can say, I made that mistake. That stove is hot. Don't touch it.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
80%, I say, of success in business, and this is just my own thing, 80% of success in any job, any business is based on your ability to deal with people and situations, right?
Oh yeah,
You could be the best at, you know what, I can get this shipment and logistics and things done. But if you can't navigate how to deal with people, whatever echelon or level you go to, and get someone frustrated or mad, that could be really, really tough. So now we're coming to the last portion. So we talked about your book,
sure.
we talked about all strategies and ways that you help and your legacy and everything like that, right? So
Yeah.
what's next for the Curtis Jenkins experience? That needs to be a biography, right there. Right? That I can see that on Lifetime someplace. The Curtis Jenkins experience, right? So, what's next for your experience, sir?
So the biggest thing for me and what I'm looking to do in 2023, honestly, is More speaking engagements. I want to speak at the largest forums across the world. And I'm having a big focus on that because what I found is that that's another way that I can impact 1,000 small businesses by having larger and larger audiences. I'm also looking at having some networking events on a quarterly basis, some online sort of LinkedIn networking events. I haven't fully flushed that out, but again, I am looking at how do I make more impact with the group. So look out for those things. I work with the NAL Speakers Bureau. So if you're listening and you want to have me come and talk to your company or to your group, your association, I'm ready. NAL Speakers Bureau, they'll be there to support me to come to your event and share more of what I know, allowing me to live my vision and my dream of being a sharer. And then I can talk to you more about my dreams, learn about your dreams, and help you meet your dreams.
I think it's something that needs to be done. If you're a small business, even if you, and when we say small business, that's just a phrase, right? Some people think,
Yeah,
because don't think of yourself, well, I've only got 5 employees. I've only got, hey, the next step you take could take that to 15 employees, to 20 employees. You know what? I've only got 300 employees with me. Hey, the next step you can take you to 1,000, 5,000, but you got to be ready for it, right? You
yeah,
got to reach out to get Curtis into wherever you're at and have him get in front of people, because when people hear it, when they see it, when they get to ask you that question, that one thing could snap in someone's mind and they go, wow, I didn't
yeah,
know that, right?
yeah.
So
Well, can I elaborate a little
yeah,
bit more on the
please
small?
go.
So when I say small business, uh, like you said, you were talking about the 1 to 5 employees, but I'm talking about even if you are in the $20 million range, because remember, I've helped employee companies go up in through the billions. And as a consultant and as an employee, I've done that in various stages. So there's, when we talk about small businesses, I'm not just talking about the very, very small businesses. Now, now I'm going to talk to the very, very small businesses because the number one thing that comes up, everybody says, well, I need more money. So I can't do this until I do that. And that's fine. And that's true. I work with companies that do that. But what's your plan to get from this step to the next step to the next step so that you can finance the next set of employees or the key person or the salespeople that you need to grow? So don't just start off saying you need money. Look into what you need, how much you need. If you're going to borrow that money, what are you willing to give up for it? But also, how is that money going to take you to the next step and to the next step? And that's what startups do, when they go from their seed rounds to pre-seed, seed, and Series A to IPO. So it's the same type of steps. So I just wanted to say this to the smaller businesses that always put up the barrier, I don't have any money.
It's like a episode of Shark Tank right here. You
Yeah.
you just kind of throwing out the people right there, right?
Yeah.
And that's one of the ultimate dreams. Though we want to get to that point where we scale our businesses and take it to the next point of where you kind of like having the what they say, having the money work for you instead of you working for the money, right? While
Right.
you're sleeping
Yes,
and
sir.
everything. So, and I wanted to actually have you say one more time that website of
Sure.
where people can reach at, because I've got it on the screen for people who can see it, but for our listeners, go ahead and tell them that website again of where they can reach you.
Sure. It's CLJ for my initials, CLJASSOC.com.
There we go, ladies and gentlemen. You can reach out to Curtis, like he said, the echelon to take that quiz. I would probably suggest using that as a first step. I'm not involved in that, but I would suggest get on the website. It does not matter. If you're feeling that, hey, I need some help, I just didn't know who to reach out to, well, you have no more excuses. You got someone to reach out to. You got someone that's willing to say, hey, this is my job. This is what I do. I know what I'm doing, right? Let me help scale and take you into, the millions, the billions, or whatever it could be. But it all starts with your effort. That's what I always tell my son. You just got to start with effort. You got to pick the
You
phone
got
up.
to start.
You
That's
got
right.
to grab the web page and type in those digits and those letters and reach out to speak to someone. So is there anything that we forgot, any last words you would want to reach out and maybe just say to someone who's out there listening? What's some last words you want to part with?
Yeah, it's funny because I kind of just said it around the dollars, right? And, I'm going to reiterate the part about why businesses fail 82% because of cash flow. The first question I'm going to ask you when we work together is, let me see your books. They're going to either be good or they're going to be a mess. But in order for me to do forensics, I'm going to have to analyze that. If you do not have a bookkeeper and your books are a mess, get one right now. Because one, I'm full disclosure, I am not a financial advisor. I know how to speak money. I know what the measures of money say. I can read the documents and I can tell you what the numbers are telling you. But that's not my profession. I will tell you that I want to work with your accountant or your financial advisor or whatever so that they can do the official preparations, but they will help me with interpreting where you are. So that's what you should do first. If we don't work together or not, find out how you can get financial professional help.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. That's the last words. We're going to leave it on that right there. I've got one question for you, though, sir. A little
Sure,
quick lightning round here. I
sure.
think you've already said it, but I still want to just ask this again as well. I love asking all my guests this here. What do you want to be remembered for?
What do I want to be remembered for? I think I sort of said it when I talked about the dreamer, the connector, and the sharer, but that I gave my all. I led with my heart. Empathy is something that I have a lot of, and I'll tell you, I gave my all. So if you're funeralizing me, you can say Curtis gave his all. That's what I remember about Curtis.
Man, I absolutely love it, right? Gave everything I've got. I gave my all. So thank you very much, sir. Stick with me for 1 second. I need to go ahead and get these bills paid with these sponsors, and I'm gonna be right back with you, okay? Thank
All
you so
right.
much. So, ladies and gentlemen, again, thank you for tuning into another episode of J1Q. Make sure you check out the show notes. Make sure you check out Curtis's webpage. Get in touch with him. I don't care what it is. If you feel you can use some help, make sure you reach out. It doesn't matter. It's not an embarrassing thing. It's about you just growing, right? Get the effort and keep going. And I extremely am excited for you being here. And also remember that this episode is being brought to you by the Hustle 1977 Whiskey's brand. For those who grind, you deserve to relax. Why not relax with a bottle of smooth tasting Hustle brand whiskey? And I want to thank you all for coming. And remember this, to keep living while you are alive.
Thank you for listening to Just One Question. I know you enjoyed the show because you made it this far. If you want to hear more, subscribe, share, and don't forget to give us a 5-star review. Now, what's your one question?